What is tip baiting? Who just broke the Bundesliga single season assist record? And the U.S. economy was officially in a recession. We'll talk about that on this week's episode of Short End of the Pick with Richard and Kurt. Hello and welcome to Short End of the Pick with Richard and Kurt. Hey, you guys, hit that subscribe button down below. Make sure you're staying in tune with all that we're doing. Go check us out on Twitter. We got our @SEP podcast. We release information about when we're dropping videos and stuff there. And get ready to maybe leave a couple of comments, be a little interactive, like our videos. Go check out some of our other content too. We've got lots of stuff out there. And Kurt, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great. That was a good intro, man.
Excellent. Yeah, I was. I'm sure that my hair is starting to get a little long here, and so I'm looking a little.
Oh, really?
Grimy.
Yeah, me too, a little bit. That's why I have the hat on.
Yeah. Oh, this quarantine hair, I think, is what.
Yeah, man, and it's crazy. Like, there's so much going on right now in the world. I don't know. It's just like we're in the middle of a pandemic. We've got all sorts of weird stuff going on.
Oh yeah, it's heavy out there right now.
But we got like tropical storms and stuff. But I'm doing good. Everything's good on my on my home front.
Your radar's staying okay.
Yeah.
Nothing too serious. Excellent. That's good to hear. Same over here, man. I'm just chilling, trying to get through everything. So, do you want to roll right into news stories? I think today is going to be, we're going to kind of stay off of the primary topics that you can pretty much go on any news media outlet and hear about all these things that are happening right now. So let's kind of take it off the beaten path a little bit. And what we're going to do is we'll start with this.
We got a couple we got a couple weird ones.
Yeah, right? We'll start. Yeah, some things that are in the news maybe you should know about. The first one is going to be this tip baiting thing. So Instacart, I'm reading off of USA Today. Instacart's latest policy will give you less time to change a tip after delivery. And this is in response to them having a certain number of people that would pre-tip for a service, for their delivery service. Instacart does grocery service.
Let's introduce, for anyone who doesn't know, Instacart, they teamed up with Publix, I think, but I think now they do all different grocery stores, mostly grocery delivery, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what they do.
You order through their app, you pay a little bit of an upcharge for every item and a fee at the end, and then they deliver your groceries to you so you don't have to go out and shop. That's what Instacart is. Background.
Exactly. And so they had that feature. Good background. So they had the feature where you could pre-tip before going, before you actually ordered all your stuff. And I think that somehow the shopper is what they call the person that goes out and does the shopping and then delivers it to your home. They would be able to see it somehow, I guess. And so basically what it was they were fronting that they were going to be getting a lot of money to the shopper, and then the shopper ends up not getting any of that money because they pull away the tip to zero
because they change their tip.
Yeah, so they change their tip at the end after the food's already dropped off.
That doesn't seem to make any sense.
Yeah. Well, basically it's just basically kind of like cheating the system a little bit, and Instacart was not happy with that.
Instacart's workers are like, hold on.
Yeah.
I was taking all these jobs, because I saw that they had tipped extra.
Yeah.
Which, when you think of a tip, usually you don't think of a tip being given before the service is carried out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's
a tip is hey, you did a good job. I was really pleased with your service. Here's a tip.
Yeah, that's a really wacky custom. But I imagine it's just for them to, they just offer that ability to do it.
Yeah, because
so that people don't forget to do it otherwise, I guess.
It's more for sure. Because after your groceries are delivered, a lot of times you're putting your groceries away, you're getting into cooking, you have an event going on, whatever it is, either you're a busy family. I mean, the whole reason you got Instacart is because you got tons of other stuff going on.
Yeah.
The chances of you taking out your phone, reviewing, oh yes, seeing that little email that pops up on your screen, your Instacart just got delivered. Yeah, I know. So, and then you're gonna go in and tip the person. It's just better to do it while you pay because you agree on the price when you select all your items. So you might as well agree on the tip then too.
Yeah, and then you can know hopefully.
And it makes sense that you could change your tip down right? Because if you got bad service and you tipped up front like a traditional tip, then you got bad service. You're like, I don't want to give them that big of a tip. So you can bring your tip down after the fact, but it leads to something like this where people are just cheating the system.
Yeah, so they're just changing it to 24 hours. They're making it so that you have to come up with a reason as to why you're reducing the tip as well. And
is that going to stop a serial tip baiter? Like,
I don't know, man. They're gonna start kicking people off.
Yeah, true. If you keep doing it like every single time you, like you can only do it 1/3 of the time that you order something, or 1/4 of the time. Yeah,
it's gonna be like the same guy when like Julian or something like that is delivering. Like, oh, I know Julian is. I can always make him look bad or something like that. Apparently, only 0.25% of orders have tip adjusted after 24 hours.
Wow.
Anyway, so not tip adjusted generally, but after 24 hours, the length of time that.
So this isn't going to do anything.
Too. Well, I mean, it's just that one small percent. Apparently, they had hired over 150,000 people.
Yeah.
Because of the pandemic. So they were doing a lot of business, and 0.25% isn't a lot, but over 150,000 people doing X number of transactions, that's a lot. That's a lot of transactions.
But if you're going to put a lot of effort into changing your policy, it's got to be like more predominant than that, or it's got to be more, I don't know. Like enough people have to be complaining about it.
Yeah. I mean, obviously they noticed it. Something happened there.
But anyway. I think that there's just like a small cohort of people that are abusing it, and they're just. I think it's going to be pretty easy to weed them out. It's a funny story.
Yeah. Yeah. Alrighty, we're moving on up into our next news story.
Tip your grocery delivery people well, people.
Yeah.
All right.
For sure.
Is our next one about the treasure?
Oh yeah. So I don't know if anyone's heard about this. This was actually a while ago. Like 10 years ago, actually.
Dude, someone could make a movie off of this.
Yeah, dude, they're probably looking into it. But Forrest Fenn, this author and I don't know, probably entrepreneur. I don't know how he got all his money, but he decided that he wanted to bury a treasure. And at the end of one of his books, he had a poem that gave the directions to the treasure. And this was like 10 years ago that he had published this. And so it was up in the Rocky Mountains, and you had to unlock all the clues or whatever in the poem, because they told you where the treasure was buried. And so apparently after 10 years, an unnamed individual, sent him a message with a picture of the chest. So it says, a treasure chest hidden by... I just got to refresh here. Give me a sec.
Forrest Fenn?
Yeah. Do you have it open?
I got something open.
Treasure chest hidden by author, artifact dealer. So he's an artifacts dealer is what it was. Forrest Fenn. It's been found after a decade long. It was worth at least $1 million. So, dude, good for the person that found it. Yeah, but in his 2010 book, sorry.
This says 1 million to 5 million. Somewhere between that.
So in his 2010 book, The Thrill of the Chase, excuse me, the 89-year-old Fenn published, well, he's now 89, so 79, a poem that included 9 clues on where to find the treasure. And boom, someone found it.
Wow. So he's still alive.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
I don't know. Also, I feel like he would be planning to do that for when he died, because he must have done it pretty... I mean, he's what, like 89 years old now, so he's probably doing it 10 years ago, thinking that he would be dead when it got found,
Yeah, I'm sure that at a certain point you kind of want to let it go as long as possible, but it's kind of nice to know that someone was able to figure it all out. Apparently it was a 12th century bronze chest that weighed 20 pounds and included content like gold coins, gold nuggets, and other valuables that weighed an additional 22 pounds. So this thing was 42 pounds of, and if you had to pack, apparently it was like one of the lines in the poem was saying like too far to walk, something that's too far to walk. And it's like, maybe if you have to pack that out, dude.
That's why the gold price went down.
Yeah, because he packed out 22 pounds of gold into
a bunch of the market.
But packed it out of the woods.
Yeah, wow. I was gonna say, like, why are there any other people that are writing poems that we can go find like treasures?
I'm sure there's like all kinds of treasure stuff out there. You probably just have to Google it.
Man, I want to be the guy that found it.
On the beaches. Apparently, a lot of people find stuff on the beaches in Florida. Like, they have all those, like, Spanish galleons or whatever they're called and stuff like that. people that just take out the beep 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 things and then go and find all kinds of stuff on the beach.
Yeah, but I feel better if there's like a puzzle that I have to solve, because
Oh,
at
yeah.
least there's some intellect involved, and it's like
not just
like,
pure luck.
I have a better shot than the average person.
Yeah, you didn't just like come across it on happenstance. You were like, okay, it's like a little more rewarding
No, but
too.
it's
You
like-
know what I mean?
Yeah, but it's like I didn't even know that this existed. You know, obviously only the people that read his book knew that, or a small like enclave of people probably like even knew that there was something hidden out there. Like, man, I wish I knew. Like, if there was $1 million laying around or millions of dollars laying around somewhere nearby here, I would be searching for it.
Yeah,
Anyway.
I'm sure there is. You just gotta Google it. Gotta start looking it up. Alrighty. So that wraps it up for news this week. I mean, like we said, we're not going to try and touch on the big stuff. We just want to do the little fun stuff on the side because you can get your news from other sources. But we do want to talk about a couple of sports things that are going on and some pretty interesting stuff at that. And
It's
we're
all
gonna
soccer related. It's all It's all European football.
Yeah. And I think we'll start off with the non-headline sports part where Leipzig is transferring Timo Werner to Chelsea.
Yes. Very good young talent. Well, not so young. Maybe he's like 24 now, but very good player. He's been part of RB Leipzig's success and their rise.
Yeah.
And big signing. I think it was like 53 million pounds for
54
Timo
million
Werner.
pounds. I'm reading. Yeah. It
So,
says
Big signing for Chelsea because they got a lot of young guys and they're trying to develop their squad. They got a new manager and they're doing really well right now. So
yeah.
much to my chagrin.
Yeah. It says Werner's set to join Frank Lampard's side in a 54 million pound move next week on a 5-year deal from Germany.
Yeah. So, but we were talking about, the EPL is discussing starting up some games here the next month, right?
Yeah.
And is Werner gonna play for, like, the Bundesliga still has like 4 games left.
Four games left.
Their season as well. So when is he officially like moving? Is he gonna?
Yeah.
Are they gonna work that into the contract?
Yeah, that's part of it. That's part of their whole thing too. They're wondering, as reported by Sports Illustrated, Leipzig is hoping that they can hold him until the end of the season because, like you said, it's only 4 things, and Leipzig is kind of in a spot where they're trying to maybe stay in, potentially get Champions League.
Yeah,
maybe.
it's a tough race there in the Bundesliga.
Yeah, so they definitely want to hold on to their talent while they can.
But this is this is the time that teams usually trade, swap, not like they transfer players all over the place because no one's doing anything right now. So this is the time that players move. But it's so weird because you've got all these weird ad hoc different seasons finishing, starting.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows what's going on?
Yeah, it's not like as coordinated as it's been, So that'll be interesting, I guess.
You deal with that a little bit. Yeah, you deal with that a little bit where you have like the MLS, which has a different season than most of the rest of the world. Most of the rest of the world works on a like September through May schedule, and then the off season in between. But like MLS doesn't work because the U.S. likes to do everything different. So you have players transferred in the middle of a season or something like that. So
well, they have the U.S. has a competing viewership thing. Like they don't want to be doing it in the peak of the NFL season,
Right, but it's
really
something
hard.
it's something that's been dealt with in a like lesser league like that, but not in like a big like Champions League battle, where you need your star players.
Right. Like you're just like sending them off when at the most critical moment.
Yeah,
you're like 4 games away. Like you couldn't wait a month. Anywho. Alrighty, that brings us into our headline I was gonna say the highlight, but headline I think is more apt of a phrase, and that is who is setting Bundesliga's single season assist record. And drum roll please, it is Thomas Müller.
Yes.
So you kind of pointed this story out to me. I don't know if you have it open necessarily, but here it is. I got it now. Müller 2 assists on Saturday. He had 2 assists Saturday. Dang.
4-2 win. Yeah.
over Bayer Leverkusen.
Yeah, he typically plays like a center attacking role, I think. So that's perfect for assists, especially
So
with
he
their
passed.
system.
Yeah. So he passed Kevin De Bruyne's 19 assists for Wolfsburg in the 2014-2015
Wow.
season. Wow. So
Kevin De
that was a
Bruyne.
pretty recent. Like it was only about 5 years ago that they
Well,
had
and
that the record was met.
Right, and I don't know if like the Bundesliga technically, like the EPL started in like the late '90s technically, even though they had an English league before that. But it's like when they rebranded and stuff, they called now all the records are for the English Premier League. Well, they only go back like 30 years to 20 years. They don't go back hundreds of years. So I don't know if it's something like that. But dude, Kevin De Bruyne, I mean,
Yeah.
he's turned out to be one of the world's best like passing midfielder, attacking midfielder players
Yeah.
of all time, really.
Oh yeah, no, for sure.
With Manchester City.
And you were kind of mentioning this too, but he broke the single season before the end of the season. Even like the season's not even up yet. He's still got 4 games left.
Well, yeah, it'd be one thing if there was like 1 game or 2 games left, but 4 games left out of a 30. I mean, how many games do they have in a season? Like 30 something, maybe.
Yeah, probably. Well,
30. 4 out of 30. That's like more than a tenth of the season left. And so that's how much better you are if you broke the record at that point. So
yeah. So it looks like if the record's broken, then obviously he has one more assist than at least one more assist than
says
Kevin De Bruyne has 19. So how many did he have?
Well, I don't know. This says Thomas Müller sets Bundesliga's record. Yeah, it says with 20th assist of the season.
Okay,
Saturday.
yeah. So he had
Dude.
20 assists now. I mean,
He's a great player.
If you can get 1 or 2 more assists before the end of the season, which is totally doable, playing on the team that he plays on, they have a plus. They have what was I saying before? It was like in like the 40 to 60 range or something goal differential.
Oh yeah.
So that's what I was saying, right? It was
Bayern Munich has they have a ridiculous goal differential in the league.
Yeah,
they're only they're up 7 points over Borussia Dortmund, and they're doing well.
Anyway, but they just score a ridiculous number of points, and so realistically, we could see another.
Yeah, they score goals, and he tends to be on the giving side, I guess, or the whatever side of the goal. So
I wouldn't be surprised if we saw another couple or maybe even 3 more. I mean, that's not unheard of.
I mean, Mueller's getting kind of old. I mean, he's getting close to 30. Maybe he's 28 or 29. But he's a great player. He came onto the scene a little bit before the World Cup in 2014.
No, 14.
When Germany won. Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, 14 when they beat Argentina in the final and they crushed Brazil.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, yeah, he was kind of young back then, but think of how much time's gone by. He's a great player.
Yeah, he's 30. I'm reading 30, but still, yeah, dang.
Okay, well, yeah, congrats to him.
Congrats to him, yeah.
Looks
and while
like
we're
Bayern Munich is going to run away with this thing. We don't know, but it's going to be pretty tough for them to not win it at this point, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. Like they're up 7 with 4 games left. So, I mean, they'd have to completely implode at this point to lose. But that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to pull back their shots. I mean, we could still see him. Like he might get a lot of playtime just because they know that he has that. That he wants to keep that record kind of high. So while
we
we're
have to
sitting
go.
on Bundesliga, we can go over our picks from last week, and then we can do our Dick's Picks and Captains log for this week. So last week we had who was it that we had?
Well, it was Bayern Munich versus Bayer Leverkusen.
So that was it was at Bayer Leverkusen.
Yeah.
So so I think that would have like that home field advantage. You're hoping that you can kind of like take a win from the number 1 team in the league. Obviously, based on the story we just
Leverkusen,
did, we know the result.
Yeah, Leverkusen's like kind of they're battling it out for 3rd place, for Champions League. Whereas Bayern Munich, albeit yes, they're battling for the championship, like they're battling for number 1. They more or less had it tied up. Now they definitely have it tied up. But I mean, the thing is, I think they were still 7 points up last week too, and I think Borussia Dortmund may have won. But long story short, yeah, it was a good chance for Leverkusen to maybe snag some points. And so, what did we pick here? We're going over our picks here.
Yeah, go ahead. You can read them.
Okay, so for Captain's Log and Dick's pick last week, we both picked Bayern Munich to win.
Of course.
We had faith in the champs, and it was you picked Bayern Munich to win by 2, and I picked Bayern Munich to win by 1. And Bayern Munich did win, and they won by 2. So you won the pick there, but we both picked them to win.
Yeah.
In my defense.
I mean, that was a solid pick. Yeah, Bayer Leverkusen's at home, and give them we give them the benefit of the doubt. I guess that's where that extra point, I guess, you know, for you comes from. That maybe that home advantage that they don't pull away with it. Yeah. But it makes sense that it was going to be a 1 or 2 point differential at the end of the day, and you know, just by the flip of the coin, even potentially, I got that one. But hey, big win for the Bayern Munich to hold that lead there, and
for sure. And so now, like, the thing is, we don't, like, once again, there's nothing. Honestly, we are searching for things besides Bundesliga matches to do picks for, but there really is nothing out there.
Yeah,
so we have another Bayer Leverkusen match. This time it's Schalke, and we haven't done Schalke yet. So they're not doing so hot this season, but who knows? It's going to be at Schalke. So, Schalke versus Leverkusen. And who do you want to reveal first, Richard?
I think we can do Kaptain's log this week.
All right, I wrote it down for the fans here.
Oh, I don't have a fancy little piece of paper, but who? Okay, so
that I wrote it down ahead of time. This is proof.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's a good point.
I honestly
don't have any proof because I could just pick whatever you pick. I could pick the opposite.
Okay.
You pick.
Then why don't you go first?
Okay.
That way we'll know that this was picked ahead of time and my decision wasn't influenced by yours.
Alrighty.
So you go ahead and reveal first.
Alrighty. Based mostly on just position in the table and how they fared against each other the first time they met, I'm gonna go Bayer Leverkusen is gonna come off of a loss this week, but roll into a win by 2.
Oh, are you kidding me?
This week is by 2. Bayer Leverkusen's got to come out with a fury right now, man. They got to get points.
I mean, 2 is not... I mean, I guess you could call that a fury. All right, you want to see my pick? Ready? Ta-da!
Yes.
Captain's log.
Ooh.
You can't see it.
Leverkusen by 2 as well.
Yep.
That's an interesting pick. What is the similar circumstances, similar data inform that decision?
Oh yeah, this is all data, man. Actually, kind of. Actually, the data that I used really pointed to 1, but there was a second data source that I checked that pointed to 2. So this is a difference of data. So I wouldn't be surprised if they won by 1. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, Schalke only lost by 1 when they were away. So could they maybe? I mean, this might be a tie week. This might have been the week that we needed to pick a tie.
Pick a draw? Yeah.
Yeah, pick a draw.
I think a draw is certainly more likely than even Schalke winning. But
yeah, that's true. I would say.
See. All right, well, that's Captain's log and Dick's pick.
Yeah. Don't wager any money on those picks. Those are from the heart.
Yeah, here's the thing. We don't know anything about Bundesliga and...
Wait until EPL. That's coming in 2 weeks, guys. I think I saw the 19th they're starting up the games again. So we'll have something next week for you.
We got to get into the economy, right?
Yeah, and so the big headline, Stock Talk, and the big headline coming into Stock Talk is
we're in recession.
U.S.
I don't know.
Officially.
Depression. No. Recession.
Recession. You were right. Yeah, recession. But
depression.
It's nuanced. We were in a recession, and so the AP, Associated Press reporting,
there was or is a recession, and however long it lasts, we don't know how long it's going to have lasted or how long it's going to last, but we know it began in February.
Yeah, yep.
That's all we know.
Began in February. So yeah, I guess technically it's not. You can't say that it's over technically. I guess because. Based on where it was at the beginning of February or January even, it hasn't yet gotten back to that necessarily. So,
well, what you're talking about the stock market.
Yeah.
But recession is actually not determined by the stock market.
Oh, solely by the stock market.
It's determined by GDP and employment, really. And employment employment is still a lot lower than it was right now in February. We don't have the real-time data, but May was impressive. The May numbers were impressive, but we still have high unemployment, so could still be probably still in recession. Yeah. I don't know the GDP numbers. I mean,
yeah, I get their definition of recession is broadly a quote a decline in economic activity that lasts more than a few months. So it's pretty broad, pretty broad definition. But for that reason, the NBER, which is the National Bureau, let me find it real quick,
of Economic Research.
Yeah, National Bureau of Economic Research waits longer before making a determination that the economy is in a downturn. So that's why it's been as long as it. Well, anyway, in previous recession, the committee did not declare that the economy was in a recession until December 2008, a year after it had actually begun. But in this case, NBER said the collapse in unemployment and in income was so steep that it could much more quickly make a determination. So that's what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's like
it's not just the stock market. I mean, the stock market is like speculation. Real economic activity is a lot of times more gauged by employment and GDP, which is driven by consumer purchasing and stuff like that. So,
I imagine data consolidation in that for those kinds of for that kind of data is very challenging. So for them, it makes sense that it takes a lot longer because you have a lot of uncertainty on data sets that are that big.
Another thing is like a recession. To be a recession, to declare something a recession, you have to be sure that it's going to last a certain amount of time. Like if employment drops 1 month and then pops right back up, it wasn't really a recession. A recession is like a prolonged thing. So you need to be sure, and you need to go back and like gauge it versus previous year and the surrounding months, and you have to put into like seasonal factors and all sorts of stuff. So, but 22 million jobs were lost in March, and 2.5 million were added back in May. But so we're on our way back, I guess you could say, from the depths. But remember, February is where we actually didn't have a lot of large scale closures of all sorts of things until March, really, in a lot of states. But February, the news started to really pick up on it. It started to actually show up in the U.S. towards like mid or late February, and that's when people started to get a little scared and take precautions. So that makes sense that they would declare the slowdown starting there. Yeah, that makes sense.
But that's the big headline. I guess you kind of like touched on like a portion of that too. I don't know if we ever talked about this in the last one, but that increase in unemployment, or I'm sorry, the increase in employment, the decrease in unemployment is actually pretty big news. Like as far as because weren't economists projecting like an even more unemployment? Like
they were projecting an increase in joblessness or an increase in unemployment, and it actually decreased. So I mean, the analysts are throwing darts at this point. I mean, no one knows what's going on. All the real-time data is so hard to come by. So I mean, I was shocked about how well it was. I did see, you can trace the inflection. Like what you do is you look at the new jobless claims and then look at the recurring jobless claims and kind of compare them. And you can tell that there's some jobs that are coming back. So even though you have 1 million more jobless claims this week, well, you might have had 1.5 million jobs people came back to. So you have to also look at the recurring jobless claims, not just the new jobless claims. And so it's a lot of, it's pretty interesting, but I don't want to, I guess beat a dead horse, but but it was an impressive May number. And that's one of the reasons the stock market's been so good over the last week or two.
Yeah. And that rolls us right into the indices this week. Unless you want to touch on BP and Duncan real quick. BP,
no, I mean, to go along with that employment, I think like Duncan announced 25,000 possible new jobs, new hires for reopenings that they're doing across the country. I didn't hear about BP. What's up with them?
BP is they lost. They're actually, oil company. They're trying to cut 10,000 jobs. So it's just showing how like the whole market is like totally
it's shifting, volatile.
Yeah.
It's all industry specific. Like obviously the tech companies they're not skipping a beat. I mean, they're coming out of this thing better than they were before, and so it was really unpredictable. some of the traditional things we thought about the market and we thought about economics and how everything works together sort of fell apart, because when you have something like this, even the tech companies lose a lot of revenue, their stock price still goes up because there's a lot of confidence in them for the future. It's like, well, wait a minute. When everything else is failing, Zoom is carrying people through. Facebook is being used a lot more than normal. The advertising revenue may not be there, but at least the usership is up, and Netflix and all this stuff. So there's a lot of confidence moving into the tech sector despite the loss of revenue. Everything is really crazy.
Yeah, that is really wild. I think just to kind of like wrap up on this Dunkin' thing, I think what Dunkin' does really well is they do like a drive-through kind of service, which is particularly important now given all the whole pandemic and everything like that. Yeah. But also, people are kind of going more towards that. They don't want to go to a place for coffee. They just want to get their coffee and go. And I think that's
cheap. Like, some people
and good. I think people genuinely prefer Dunkin' type coffee.
Yeah, it's like less like weird flavor, but it's quick and easy. Like, and it's like, the thing is, like, you got people that are using it every day on their way to work. I mean, it may not be healthy, but there are people that just do. They just stop at Dunkin' every day on their way to work. So they're not going to, if you charge them $5 or $4 for a coffee versus $2 for a coffee, that's a huge deal in their monthly budget. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, for sure.
So they produce like a good, but if you see some of those drive-throughs, they're backed up like in the AM, because they have a very peak hour problem. You know what I mean? So
for sure.
So maybe this employment is like them kind of restructuring, putting some capital in and saying, or some investment in saying, let's put more employees in, move more customers through, because our lines are always backed up out the door.
For sure. Especially since they have the demand for it, obviously. So you might as well. I mean, employees, you can come and go based on how badly you need them.
That's something that Chick-fil-A had to struggle with. Their drive-through was way out the door, and they hired tons of people to process tons of cars through their drive-through.
Yeah. It's that benefit cost kind of.
So, what are the indices? Like, how much does the market up?
We'll roll right into the industries here. So, indices, excuse me. So, I'll start with the S&P 500. From last week was trading around 3,000. It's up 5.5%.
Wow.
Dang.
That's
S&P
even more
500.
than I thought.
Yeah. 1% on the day. To be fair, they had really high gains just today. So, all of these indices are going to be pretty big, and partially because they had such a good day. But other good days too, obviously. 5% is nothing to not gawk at. We have the Nasdaq is up 3.7%, 3.8%, so a little bit less. But we saw those tech industries had a lot of their gain back a lot more rapidly than maybe other types of industries. S&P 500 is kind of just like a pick of all of the biggest industries. Nasdaq is tech heavy, and then Dow Industrial. So the industrial is the one that was kind of lagging, I guess.
Yeah.
And they saw a 7.5% increase. So,
but that's
on the whole, the market was crushing it, though.
Yeah.
I mean,
and it's led by a lot of like huge market gaps in your tourism and travel industries, where like Boeing is a huge company. I mean, it makes up a ton of some of these indices. Not a ton, but they're really highly weighted. Like, you'd be surprised how much value Boeing brings to like the S&P 500 and how much it makes up of it.
I heard on a radio story one time about that, and it is outstanding. Like, astonishing, like how much they're actually doing business.
Look how much they rose. I mean, they skyrocketed. All the airlines skyrocketed. A lot of hotels and resorts, car rental. You were talking about Hertz, so all that stuff is just blasting upward because they had a panic sell-off, a huge fear for the future. And I shared in that fear. A lot of people share in that, but now a lot of people are letting go of the fear, and their stock is soaring up. So
but we're getting back to kind of like normalcy, and people are recognizing that the value of these companies hasn't changed as dramatically as what they thought it was.
Right,
which makes sense.
And they're still only half of what they were before the pandemic started.
Yeah.
So let's get into the big pick and the what's the other thing?
Yeah, big pick and hot take. My hot take.
Yeah, your hot
big
take.
pick and my hot take.
So your hot take last week, I remember, was a great one. I was just talking about it just now with the tourism and the travel.
And we can start. Yeah,
which was Norwegian Cruise Line.
Yeah, we'll kick right off with mine too.
So how much
Hot
did that
take.
go up? Like 80%, 100%,
So
200%?
don't get too excited. But I mean, just today, it's up a buck, up a couple of bucks just today. So
What
I mean,
percent?
that alone was 20%. But from the beginning from last week when I had recommended it, it's up nearly 50%.
Wow.
49.
I'm telling you, that's going to be the best pick we ever do. One of us ever
dude,
does.
It's
such a weird time.
Yeah, if you're, trading stocks, there's always risk of loss, and I'm not here. I'm not your financial advisor. I don't know where you are. I think that we need to tell the public that on a regular basis, but we like to make these picks. If you were in a position to have, like, you had liquidity and you were in a position to invest in stocks, even still now, there's a lot of stocks out there that are undervalued that are just trying to go back to the value that they actually are, their actual value. You know what I mean? And I think that this cruise line is one of them, and they're gonna kind of level off here pretty, in the coming months. But if at the beginning of this pandemic, when everything was just tanking, you had liquidity and you were able to put it into market, you're seeing a lot of return right now because the market's just going back to what it was.
Yeah. And I, unfortunately, did not get into that realm. I picked an energy stock, ENPH, and they fell, 10%?
Yeah, I'm looking at 10%, 10.5%.
So I flopped on that one. There was another one that I wished I had picked, but it had a great week. But I bought your Norwegian, and I did really well on it. I didn't buy as much as you, but
the one that you almost thought about picking, the other one that's doing really well, you did buy that too.
Yeah, that one was up. I mean, that one was only up like 15% or something. Not
only 15%. Oh my gosh! You hear the people are gonna get way too confident with the amount of money, like with the numbers we're putting up there. That's ridiculous. 15% over the course of a week. You don't see those kinds of return over the course of 2 years. You know what I mean? This is
sustainable stuff.
You got to be cautious in the market. All right, let's roll right into this week's hot take and big pick.
So, what's your hot take, Richard?
Alrighty, we'll start with my hot take, and you already kind of mentioned it, but I'm gonna go ahead and go on with it. I'm saying Hurts, dude. No, that's fine. I don't mind at all, because it just goes to prove my point, like why I'm picking Hurts. So they're trading at $5.50 a share right now. They are up 100. In the last week, they are up 530%. Something like that.
Okay.
I mean, they're trading at 88 cents a share.
The reason that happened is because they declared bankruptcy a couple weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago at this point.
Yeah, I think we might have even mentioned it.
Yeah. When they declared bankruptcy, they hit the floor. A lot of people thought that they were going to completely go out of business, sell all of their assets. All of their debt was in their cars, so just sell off all their assets and just dissolve as a company. But whatever happened, I don't know if they got capital from someone else or if
circumstances changed.
Who knows what happened? But but a lot more confidence now. So how much did they go up?
They went up in the last day. They're up. It looks like 100. Like over the day, they're up 100%.
What?
And they're only trading at $5.50. So you go up $1, and then boom, it's 100. It's like 80% right there.
Wow.
So, but all this to say, I mean, I don't know what their long-term outlook. Their 5-year doesn't look particularly.
But you're picking them for the next week.
Yeah, next couple of weeks maybe. Yeah,
Keep this thing going.
I mean, right before the market collapse, they were trading at a pretty consistent $15 a share. I think this could get back to $10 a share. That's about a 50% gain. I mean, I think that's where it could be. So that's where I'm going with Hurts this week.
All right. That's a good pick for them to keep that steam rolling. And for that was your hot take. I don't mean to call it, because we all know that I have a big pick. And my big pick is going to be Spirit, which is, I think it's SAVE. Spirit Airlines.
Save? That's a great stock symbol.
Stocked ticker, yeah. So they were up 13% today. This is along the same lines of everything we've been talking about for the last 5 to 10 minutes. They're up 75% in the last week. And I just look at the year. I mean, just the year trend back in mid-February, they were at $42 a share.
I'm gonna Google it.
They're at 25 right now. So they've got room back to grow back. I'm not selling this thing until after they're through the $30 threshold at least. So they've got another $5, which is another, who knows, like 20% something like that to grow. I think over the next week.
They're a substantial market competitor too, so it's not like they're just gonna disappear.
Yeah, they were growing. Like they were growing leading up to the thing. I mean, they're one of the airlines that was doing pretty well stock wise.
Yeah, dude, they were trading at
gathering
$8 a share at one point, dude. Woof.
Yeah, pick it up back then. Oh man, I wish I was that prudent. But I sunk into my fears. Obviously, I pulled a lot of cash out.
As most people do.
Yeah, so that's my big pick and the
Excellent
hot take. I have a bad feeling about this week. I have a good feeling that my stock will make money, but I have a bad feeling that I'm gonna lose to you because you have been really hot on the stocks this last couple weeks here.
Sprinkling a little bit of luck there, here and there too. And even a blind pig can root up an acorn. Alrighty.
Yeah. Well,
so
what's up? No, you go.
I was gonna say that wraps it up, man. I don't got any more stories left.
That completes all the tabs I have open for stories.
Excellent.
So with that wraps up this episode. And make sure you all subscribe. Click that subscribe button down below and make that thumbs up icon turn blue. Click the like button. And hey, leave some comments like, what is your pick? What is your best stock pick? Who do you think is going to win between Shalke and Bayer Leverkusen? Leave your comments for your picks down below. Compare them to ours. And this has been another episode of Short End of the Pick with Richard and Kurt. We'll see you guys on the next one. Until then.